Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the SOM TV podcast. We are live from the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. We're going to be here all weekend, and it is going to be a hell of a weekend. We are going to be filming all sorts of content, coming up with all sorts of podcasts that are going to be dropping now and over the course of the next several weeks with different people. I am here with Claire Coppi, our head of Aspen Food and Wine Classic.
Yes, I'm running the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Well, we're all here. Claire, this is going to be your first time.
Yeah.
This is, I just want to ask you first, are you excited about this?
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, having been in the food industry and the beverage industry for quite a while, maybe not necessarily as a sommelier, but even as a server and bartender back in my acting days, you hear about this. This is a big deal. And it's supposed to be nuts, and it's kind of shrouded in this, glitzy, glamorous thing. And to be here, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm a little scared because I've heard of how intense and how nuts this is.
It's intense. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, what this is
yeah. How many times have you been?
I was here in 2019, and then SOM TV was going to cover it the following year, and then of course COVID broke out, so we didn't do that, and now we're all here finally. And I really mean we're going to hit it. I mean, Claire, you are doing tons of blind tasting sessions and drink-a-bottles and covering this. If you are a SOM TV subscriber, and I cannot believe you're not, if you're listening to this.
Crazy pants. Crazy.
We have coverage coming every single day in various different forms. We have episodes we're shooting that are going to be turned around quick for a lot of content's about to drop. But also, it is an absolute endurance test. I mean, this is a constant. It's not just the drinking and all of the stuff and the parties. It's kind of it's just an all-together package of you are up doing things for 16 hours a day, and most people aren't filming content. So
No, I mean, look at today, for example. This is our first day here, and we've hit the ground running. I think I've been awake for 12 hours already off of 3 hours of sleep, and we're going. We still have so much to do.
We have so much to do. So much
in a great way.
Before we get into some things, what are you looking forward to most this week? There's a lot of very fun things coming down the pipe, and we have a lot of celebrities that are going to be on.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Living in LA, I do see a lot of celebrities in restaurants, and I'm never I'm not outwardly starstruck, but internally I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's that person. That's so cool. So I'm excited to see some of those faces, but also seeing some familiar faces in the food industry that maybe I've seen on social media that I haven't had the chance to meet yet, catching up with old friends that I haven't seen in a little while. It'll be really cool to see George again. I mean, we just came off of the James Beard Awards, and now I get to hang out with him again, so that's pretty fun.
George from Sparklers, that's right. That's the thing I'm looking most forward to is Dwayne Wade's party, which is going to be a blast.
That's going to be terrible.
George works for D. Wade Sellers. That's going to be a lot of fun. But in the process of doing this whole chaotic week, there's going to be some hangovers.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be some.
So you've told me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think I'm going to be good.
I want this is interesting for our first pod. So listener, basically Claire has never done this. And then after I'm done talking to Claire, I'm going to speak with May Selby. And May Selby is the PR director for the Little Nell Hotel. That's where we're based. Our studio is here this whole weekend. And the Little Nell is the nucleus of this festival. It is sort of everything comes in and out of it. And it is just a tremendous location where some of the greatest beverage and food professionals of the United States have come through this place.
What an honor to be here.
But here's what's interesting about this pod. She is a PR person. So I'm going to speak to somebody who's going to tell you at the beginning of a fest what it's like and code it very nicely. As this goes on, I'm going to interview people who are going to tell some stories about the Food and Wine Classic and about experiences and people involved with the Food and Wine Classic that I think you'll want to hang in. This is a good one because right now, Claire, you don't know what to expect.
No, I kind of think it might be like the Olympics. When you hear about all the athletes being like, it's crazy and we're just going nuts and messing around and there's all this debauchery behind the scenes. That's what I think this is like the Olympics of the food and wine industry.
It's, to me, having covered Comic-Con many times with, when I worked at different jobs a long time ago, it's kind of like Comic-Con. It's kind of like any of these very large convention-like things, except that you're right, there's this giant luxury aspect of this.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, if you've watched Top Chef, maybe that's where you've heard about this event or something like that. But we will lose our voices. We will have hangovers. And so that's why I want to just really quick go over what are your solutions, not just for hangovers, but the constantness This is another comp would be like Sundance Film Festival for me of what it's like to do that. And so what do you do preventative and after for the look? I get a little bit of sleep. I inevitably I'm going to have too many drinks at night.
Yeah.
What is it that you do?
Oh gosh, I don't even know that I have a real plan going into this. I don't know if I have much of a plan ever in my life. But obviously there's the, hydrate, especially we're up at this high altitude and we're not used to that. So we need to hydrate extra hard. So I'm going to try and do that and try not to go too crazy and get too excited and drink all of the things all at the same time. And yeah, not getting much rest. I don't know. I just kind of push through and beat myself up. And then I'm like, I'll worry about this next week when I have a day off. It's not very responsible. I don't know. Taking like an ibuprofen before bed and then again a couple hours before you wake up is helpful.
How do you take an ibuprofen a couple hours before you wake up?
You set an alarm.
Oh, you set an alarm.
Oh, yeah.
Take another Advil and then go back to
like if you're waking up at 6, like set an alarm for like 4:30.
I think, no, that works. I mean, I've always sworn, I don't know how mental it is for me, but I've sworn by Alka-Seltzer. Drinking that before you go to bed.
Really?
Or in the morning, or both.
Huh.
I don't know what it is. I know it's only aspirin that's in there, so I don't know if but it's always been the thing for me that works really well.
Or like Pedialyte?
I didn't bring Pedialyte. That's a good idea.
It's like a college
Gatorade
move.
or something.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
We should go get Pedialyte.
Yeah, we could do that. By the way, this podcast is sponsored by Pedialyte.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that'd be sick. I feel like there should be a Pedialyte stand.
Pedialyte should sponsor this podcast because we're a bunch of lushes.
Seriously.
Really,
there should be a Pedialyte stand next to the champagne stand or
That's
cart
right.
or whatever the heck I've heard of this thing. I don't know. It's this magical, mystical thing called the champagne cart, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. So when you're here, the Little Nell is a good example. There is, from 2 to 4, the Aperol Spritz cart is out there, and then the Martini cart comes, and at night, the champagne cart comes rolling by. And I want to tell you, there's no better salesman in the world than the person behind the champagne cart at 10:45 p.m. at the Little Nell.
They don't have to do anything.
At the bar. Yeah, they don't have to do anything, but they do something because they sell a hell of a lot of wine at this place.
You're saying a bunch of wine professionals have to be sold on drinking champagne?
Well, so that's what's really interesting about this is that people come here and there's a lot of people with great means. But the most fun you're going to have at the Food and Wine Classic is drinking with the people who work it. And the people who work it in a lot of cases are quote unquote celebrities. I mean, celebrity chefs and celebrities, I hate the term celebrity sommeliers, but I guess it's a thing. And, and those people are the most fun to spend the weekend with. I promise you, if you're looking for where the party is at Aspen Classic, at the Food and Wine Classic, it is at the Little Nell bar at night. And I'm telling you, Claire,
with all the industry,
you're about to walk into the gauntlet here. And we're gonna.
Well, do you have any like crazy stories that like anything to prepare me for the level of crazy?
Not so much. I mean, I've seen Martha Stewart swear several times. That's not really a story.
Who fucking hasn't?
I mean, I would also say that every person you've seen on Som TV, for the most part, I have seen go a little too far at this place and that kind of stuff. But it's. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I probably do have stories, and they're going to come to me, and I'm going to get in trouble for telling them as we go. But this is just day one. So I know you have to jump here in a minute because you're about to do what? What are you about to do?
I'm so excited. I'm about to go in the cellar at the Little Nell. This is like a 20,000 bottle cellar. This is one of the most iconic cellars in the United States, if not the world. And there are some sick bottles down there, some incredibly knowledgeable sommeliers curating and running that cellar and that gorgeous list. And do I love me a sexy cellar. I can't wait to see this thing.
Will you ask them when you go down there what the best bargain on their wine list is?
Yeah.
$20 is it's like a really expensive bottle, but it's worth a lot more.
I bet it's expensive, but it's like one of those fun like little bottles that not a lot of people know about other than, the kind of culty Som community.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see. I can't wait to see this. This
probably not the DRC.
This really is known as one of the greatest cellars in America.
Yeah.
And so that'll be streaming on Som TV very soon.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to go right now.
Oh, boy. All right, Claire, get out of here. And then we will talk a lot more and a lot more coming for you Som TV subscribers, and stick close to the podcast. Without further ado, I'm going to speak with the public relations director for the Little Nell. This is May Selby, a friend for a very long time of mine. And I've never seen this woman sleep. I don't think she does. And I think she's part robot. So we'll see her perspective on this festival. And as the weekend goes, we're going to get a little bit more loose. So hang with us, okay? All right, May, how are you? You feeling rested? Are you feeling like you've had enough vitamin C?
I'm ready for game time. It's Food and Wine Classic Weekend.
Wait, what does game time mean? All right, look, most people listening, I don't think a lot of people get a chance to come to this and actually experience this. And I know, look, you are a public relations person, so I can tell you, normally, you're going to paint a very good public relations picture of whatever you're talking about. But so working in PR, I'm assuming when you talk about anything, you talk about it in its best light. But you can't lie to me here. Food and Wine, this is insane, right? I mean, especially for someone in your position at the Little Nell, the center of everything.
Yeah, I've always loved the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. It's so much fun. It's such like a homecoming of people who've lived here, people who love wine, people who just love food, and chefs and food connoisseurs. It's just so much fun. Bring everyone together. So
let's talk about the hours and the grind. And
yeah,
that
true.
Stuff. So what is it like? I mean, you're a machine. I know that you're what, 60% metal. You're a machine. I don't really know how you do what you do, but talk to me about like what the actual day is, because my voice is already a little rough. Yeah. By the end of this,
me too.
I'm going to be living on, gin and Slim Jims. So tell me about the grind here.
It's so much fun because it starts early. Oftentimes there are activities in the morning. There used to be a really fun 5K on Friday morning, but that ended up going by the wayside this year, sadly. So not doing that. But there are always really fun breakfasts and events in the morning, and then it goes all day long with the grand tastings in the park, and then panel discussions, and then hosting media, which is what I do, and then events at night, and then into the late night. And then you get a short break, and then it's right back at it. But it's important to have a little balance with some exercise. So I like to start my morning early with some exercise and then grind right into the day.
Do you stay out for the late night drinking?
I try to, yeah. Try to.
I don't understand. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, because I always see you're going. It's like 16 hours a day. It feels like more.
Yeah.
And yet you seem fresh every single time I see you in the morning.
Well,
and
thank you.
I look like I'm aging 4 years every day at Food and Wine.
Yeah. I feel like I'm aging as well. No, it's just really fun. I thrive off the energy of other people, and the people that come here, their energy is infectious, from, all the chefs and the winemakers and wine experts and consumers and trade guests. And yeah, I just love it. It's so much fun.
Do you have any stories from past Food and Wine Classics? I mean, people are aware of this event probably have seen it on Top Chef, or, it's this very like kind of hallowed event. Do you have any stories, good or bad, from the past where things have gone crazy, or anything wild has happened that you can remember?
I mean, I can say a few. Once we had Top Chef, their finale was shot here several years ago. They'd shot the series in Colorado, but not in Aspen. And then the finale was timed with the Food and Wine Classic at the last minute. So they came here and they brought in 5 of the last contenders, so you wouldn't know which 2 were possibly up. And then they had a competition at the top of the mountain, which is at 11,000 feet. So it was pretty challenging to be baking and cooking up there. And that was really fun. And seeing them turn the entire Aspen Mountain Club, which is now called the Aspen X Mountain Club, but they turned the Mountain Club into a green room and a glam squad room, and just went at it and just shot nonstop content. And we sent our chef and our wine director out for one of the scenes, and they were so nervous. And they walked out, delivered their food, delivered their wine, and came back. And I was like, you guys, you didn't say who you were. And they're like, oh, God. And they didn't get a chance to go back and do it again, but it was just rolling. But that was really fun to be a part of that whole series and make that happen, because it was a last minute production. But we've had all kinds of fun parties here. Let me think for a second about some of the more eccentric experiences.
Nothing with like some celebrity winemakers or chefs who come in here and maybe indulge a little too much, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we had Jacques Pepin's birthday party up at the top. That was really fun. And our chef was so excited to make his cake. I think he had a massive croquembouche, and that was pretty cool. And then what else? They had a really fun party in this exact room. We're in the wine bar at the Little Nell. It used to be a different room, had a different persona. And they used to have a party here every Thursday night of Food and Wine. And I came once, and it was called the T-Rock Party: tequila, rosé, oysters, and caviar. And then,
all the things you get in the at the bread wine.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And Savito Segaria was the food and beverage director at the time. He put it together, and I wanted to come in. I only had his Instagram direct message, so I was like, it's not going to work. So then I found someone who knew him to get him and came over and got me. I came in and it was a blast. And then I was looking around the party and it was late and I was like, who's doing the 5K in the morning? And nobody was. So then I said, I better leave because I am. And then I left, went home, barely made it, ran to the start as the gun went off, just kept running. And that was a fun start. Yeah.
Yeah, you sweat out a lot doing a 5K.
You see all the chefs there. It was fun.
And we're at altitude. What's the altitude here right now?
Just under 8,000 feet.
So under 8,000 feet. I walked up the steps from eating a turkey burger at lunch today, and I was winded. You're running a 5K. I just can't.
Yeah, you ate at my husband's restaurant. How was it?
It was good. I had
Did you
a
see
beer.
the chef?
I didn't see the chef.
Oh, it's too bad.
I had my eye on the food because we
Okay.
were starving. Yeah,
Open kitchen. It's good.
Come to Aspen Food and Wine for the turkey burgers. That's what I do.
Get
So
started.
we need to talk about the Little Nell. The Little
Yes,
Nell.
please.
This place is. If you are in the culinary world, you know this place. Fact. It's just like a full
Yeah.
stop. One of the most important places. But
It's a breeding ground for master sommeliers. Is what we always say.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to hold that.
We've had 11 work here over the course of 32 plus years.
I'm not going to hold that against you. I mean, we know
Yeah.
many of them: Dustin Wilson and Brian McClintock and Bobby Stuckey and all of these
Richard
people
Betts
see on
and- yeah.
all SOM TV alumni and SOM
Virginia
folks.
Phillip. Yeah.
That's right. So this place, if you're listening and you're not at the Food and Wine Classic, you're going to be here at some point. This is kind of the nucleus. Everything comes here.
Yeah.
And everybody ends up here at the end of the night. And it is one of the greatest parades of crazy bottles I've ever been a part of.
Absolutely.
And it's every single night.
Absolutely.
You guys have a cellar.
Montrachet, Dom Perignon, everything.
You have a cellar that's one of the best in the country, and later on, Claire Coppi on SOM TV is going to go through the cellar with your beverage director and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. But why is it the Little Nell that's the center? Why is it this hotel out of all of the properties here?
Well-
why does everybody come here?
You know, Jay Fletcher, who they call Papa J, Papa Fletch, he's a master sommelier and he's also someone who teaches a lot with the court. And so he's brought a lot of exams here and education here, and he's also focused on the talent here. And so he just was the one that basically guided a lot of the master somms through their courses. And some of them didn't pass their final exam while they were here, but they passed it afterward and they come back and give back. But I'd say you really have to look at him as the main source, the main driving source. But then there's also such an interest, and people come here who are pursuing their wine education and they see this and they see the clientele, and there's just this feeling that when you walk into the Nell, you're taken care of, and they want to be a part of that and contribute to it and take care of the guests. So I think that's why.
You're good at PR. You know that?
Yeah.
That's very,
Thanks.
very, very PR.
I should also add in, though, that the owners of the Aspen Skiing Company, which is the parent company of the Little Nell, the Crown family, when they decided to build the cellar from scratch, they spoke with the original wine director and said, let's build it with a focus on Burgundy and let's be really thoughtful about it. And from then on, they basically gave the power to the wine directors to build it and build relationships with all of these different winemakers and have these highly allocated wines come. And they also have a fund to educate. So if you're a sommelier here, oftentimes you're going through the courses, and then if you pass, you get reimbursed. So, and they do wine classes here on a regular basis. So it's just a focus on learning. And as I always say, a rising tide lifts all boats. So everyone's helping each other out. And that's why.
That's great. What are you looking forward to this weekend, besides sleep?
I mean, so many things. I love just discovering wineries I've never heard of, like in the grand tasting tents. There are so many parties that are happening, all the hotels and restaurants and houses that are rented. They just have these pop-ups. And I'm invited to a lot of them because on the side, I write a social column. So I get invited to a lot of parties. So if I can keep the endurance going, I'll probably check a lot off on my passport, check a lot off.
Yeah. Before you jump on this, let's talk about these parties.
Yeah.
So there's the forward facing, you see the tents, you see all of the
for the passes.
Then there
you have
are
to do
these
it.
semi-public parties that are like welcome parties and all this stuff. But then there are the real parties that are real hard to get into.
Yeah.
Tell me what's the difference and what are these parties like? Can you name some names? Throw some.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fun one at Lance Armstrong's house for Lift Vodka, which he's an investor in, and that's in the West End, and that's Thursday night. And that's just like a really fun party with a lot of people in the hospitality industry. And he's got a beautiful yard and opens his home, and just a great crowd. And then I'd say there's a really fun one at Hotel Jerome. So on the roof, they have something they call their Speakeasy in the Sky with Casa Dragones, and that's during the day, and it's 2 days or 3 days in a row, and just really fun, beautiful view and great tequila. And then there used to be one that no longer happens. It was called Wine at the Mine, and it was up at Smuggler Mine. That was the most historic party of all. And it was with
Historic why? From
Infinite Monkey Theorem wine in the
debauchery
can.
or
Well, it's just they take a mine and they create it with all the miners into this lit up venue, and you can take tours through the mine. You have all these different pop-ups with liquor distributors and restaurants, mostly based in Denver, who come up because that's a Denver-based winery, and it's just a really fun party. And you can't believe it. The views are insane, and you're just not used to being there for an event. So they turned that space into something that's a spectacle. It's not happening this year, though. So I think it happened. They kept doing it and saying, the last time at the mine, one more time at the mine. They kept naming it these rhymes, but it would always come back. And this year now. Yeah, and the rooftop at Dancing Bear Aspen always has a really fun party. Just maybe several over the weekend. That's a beautiful roof as well.
I found it overwhelming. We have to, while my team and I, when we're here, we have to choose between some pretty amazing opportunities to go to.
Yeah.
And then also, it's not a 5K we're waking up for, but it's similar in filming nonstop content for SOM TV and everything else.
And being on, yeah.
And being on and on and on.
And then here at the Nell, we have our wine cellar, which you're going to visit. And we often have it as a private venue. People can have it for a buyout. And there have been some really fun parties down there. I was down there once when Jose Andres was slicing a Iberico ham in the back. And then there was a mezcal tasting. And it was just this wild, like, organic party. It was really fun. So we'll have other parties that are happening this weekend. So it's not open to the public this weekend. It's more of a private venue, but really cool. And then we have another speakeasy, too. We call it the Boardroom. And that's also a private venue that's rented out this weekend. So people want to have some private events, and this is a great place to do it.
Love it. Well, before I let you go, Claire and I talked about our kind of hangover cures and how we're going to stay alive this weekend.
Yeah.
Do you have one? Do you have something where you're like, this is my solution?
Preventative
Preventative or after?
I drink a lot of sparkling water, and that I feel like that is what keeps me going. So
Sparkling water?
yeah, it's sparkling water with lime, morning, evening, yeah.
You are very well behaved. I like that. That's good.
In addition to the other things I tried. But I'm saying that helps me feel like a pH balance. So
That's right. Well, this is good stuff. I look forward to checking in with you. And if you find me laying down on the sidewalk, bug me with a stick, please. I need
absolutely.
help. Okay.
Thanks so much.
All right, May. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, all weekend and for quite a long time afterwards, we're going to have new content coming up that we have filmed live here. So stay tuned for coverage, podcasts, everything. Go to somtv.com to subscribe. It's $49.99 for a year. And there is a free trial right now if you want to try to get in on it and see what's happening.